Berry Cup every time.
Right, let's start with Florida, everybody.
It's a phenomenal game. Hello and welcome. This is your Nativia podcast on NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs. And I'm your host, Vlad Sadowski, and Emma.
Yes. Hi, everyone. What's up? Let's go. Great weekend of hockey. That was massive. That was just massive. I'm just going to say it was massive. Because it was.
Don't forget, Florida Panthers win. We drink from the cup. Not a lot of drinking because we're about to get hammered with Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm going to wait for a big drink when we go to the finals. That's my hope. But before we begin about talking on that subject, let's dive into what happened this weekend.
Starting off with the Western Conference, obviously, as we all know, the Edmonton Oilers beat the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're not going to talk about them because they've been talked about enough. Let's focus on the weekend. So on Saturday, we had the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. The game was in Dallas, and Dallas, with a truly, truly incredible power play performance at the very end, wins the game, 2-1 the final, and the Jets go home. It was a really, really incredible game. There was incredible storylines. Mark Scheifele scored the first goal, and then he was the one that was in the box when they scored the power play goal. So it was kind of like I did all the work, and he didn't cost them because it was just a really good play by Dallas, and just applause to Dallas.
My shout out to TJ. TJ, conference finals. I won those tickets. Remember, but that would be the next time.
Yeah, now the Dallas Stars are going to play the Edmonton Oilers, and they're going to go and they're going to beat everything out of each other, and who gets to go to the finals. It was the exact same matchup last year in the Western Conference final. So the teams are good. Edmonton won that series. They later went to the final, lost to Florida in 7. They lost. Let's keep that. That's a fact. They lost. And they're not going to. Yeah. And they are now Canada's only hope. So the entire country of Canada is now rooting for the Edmonton Oilers.
United around the Oilers. Again.
Because as fun fact, Canada has not won a cup in 30 plus years. So as much as Canada, our sport, yes, the American owns you. Americans own you in the past 30 years. There's Canadian players, that's not the point. It's an American franchise, which makes everything better, you know? USA.
And in the last 4 years, it was Florida franchises.
Yeah. So Florida went to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. They won one. Before that, Tampa went to 3 straight Cup finals, 1-2. So the Eastern Conference runs through Florida. And right now, it's running through Sunrise. Sunrise, Florida, the hot place to be.
And that is why our box ticket experience at the Sunrise Arena is something for you to absolutely try to get into. And in order to do that, don't forget, like us, subscribe to us, support our podcast, and you will end up on the arena at Sunrise, Florida.
Yes. So now, since we are a Florida Panther-centered podcast, let's dive into the game last night.
Absolutely.
Because 2 best words in sports. Game 7.
Yeah.
Game 7. 2 best words in sports. Absolutely. The score says 6-1. My personal opinion, the Toronto Maple Leafs lost 6-1, but they didn't lose 6-1. They played their hearts out, at least some of the players. In the beginning, first 10 minutes, Florida, pressure. But the Leafs came out of it with nothing to and Florida came out with it, nothing to show. So it's tied. And everyone's like, okay, here we go. Leafs are going to score because you didn't capitalize on your opportunities, Florida. And there was 4 breakaway chances that Bob saved. And that was the difference in the first period because they came out in the second 10 minutes and really had that push that Florida was just like, holy shnikes. Let's take a back seat. Let's not do anything for 10 whole minutes and let's watch the Toronto Maple Leafs play hockey. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And they had nothing to show for it because the goalie was good. The defense came in. Schmidt had a few good chances blocked away. Jones had a really few great sticks, great defense, good gaps, everything that had to be done. And there was nothing to show for it for either team. And now you're like, okay, what's going to go in? And then Florida scores. And then they score again. And then again. And then again. And then again. And then Toronto says, actually, let's give our fans some hope. And they score one. And then Florida's like, hell no. Let's get them right back. They score once.
Yeah.
And then the Toronto Maple Leafs decide to be Toronto Maple Leafy in Game 7 and pull their goalie when they're down by 4. Like, personally, I've never seen that, but you're desperate. And they pull it, and it goes in the net.
Absolutely. In a tie game like that, pulling a goalie is inevitably, having the other team score on you with very little chances to score an extra one, in my opinion. Again, yes, it's a practice in the NHL. Yes, it's a practice in top games. Yes, it's a practice when you're leaving. But nevertheless, I think that, getting from 4-1 to 6-1 didn't make much sense, in my opinion. But when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah. So really incredible games by Jones. He was honestly, the best defense. He was the best player on the ice. It was wow. He scored the goal. There was a goal that some might argue should have been another goal for him. It was ruled goalie interference. There wasn't even no challenge. There was no point. The game was out of hand by that time. But he was really an incredible player. And then Brad Marchand, welcome to the Florida Panthers.
I think he already stated his welcome, and he announced his welcome, I should say, last few games, if you ask me. And I got to tell you guys, this is what Florida did in the time of trades that I did not understand until this Stanley Cup Finals.
Playoffs, you mean?
Right. Sorry. You're right.
We're not in the final yet.
It will be. Because we have an unbeatable third line. So for people that don't understand much, there is a salary cap. So you can only hire a top player for top money, probably for the first 2 lines. And then obviously you have top defensemen, but for those lines. But you really can only hire those players for the first 2 lines. Then line 3 and line 4 are good, but medium-sized players. To have a guy like Marchand on the line 3 makes everything work for Florida like it's a line 2 or line 1 in some cases. And they're destroying the other team. And I think that in the upcoming games, we're going to see that more and more. And I really don't know what the other teams could do about it, because they are committed, and those lines are set. And if you watch the games like we did, you will see that neither Carolina nor the Oilers nor anybody else out there,
except Dallas,
because Dallas made the same move. There's nobody that has a third line like that. And that line, every time they're on the ice, they're destroying. They're literally destroying.
Yeah, because obviously skilled players on both sides, so the top 2 lines will cancel each other out, which is what you want to do.
Totally agree.
You want Toronto Maple Leafs top line that has Matthews and Marner and Nylander and all these players that are getting a lot of money, and they're top players in the NHL, 100+ points. You want them to be canceled out, because then you know that Florida's everyone's like, oh yeah, 1-2 punch, 1-2. No, Florida's got 1-2-3 punch, and that 3 punch gets you down. And then there was 4 punch yesterday because Gadjevich scored a goal.
Correct.
And then a few games before that, Gadjevich and then Greer and then all of these players,
in the line 4.
Yes, on the 4th line, and it's like a 1-2-3-4 punch. And then when you get to 1-2-3-4, you defend and you have a great goaltender. Welcome to the Eastern Conference Finals, guys. So it was really incredible to see that this line that usually just plays defense, which is great because, again, you're trying to shut the other team down, also is now producing but not sacrificing that defense.
Totally agree. So I'm personally excited for the Carolina matchup tomorrow.
Yeah,
and,
so now let's get to the matchup.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Eastern Conference Final, because when you go to 7, you play them every other day. Welcome back. You don't get a break. They play at Carolina plays at home, so we play in Carolina. Games.
They're just making sure that our people that are watching this podcast have the time to get to Florida on Saturday.
Yeah. So games 1, which is tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and then game 2, which would be Thursday, all at 8 p.m. So it's going to be an incredible matchup because Carolina, yes, they had Washington, but Washington was a little bit underprepared these playoffs. They looked great in the regular season, but the Washington Capitals in the era of Alex Ovechkin have only made it past the second round once. And they won the Cup that year in 2018. So their previous playoff history hasn't been that great apart from that one Cup a few years ago. And then Carolina's first test, the New Jersey Devils, they were really hurt. So they kind of didn't get that top-tier performance that, let's say, Florida did, because Florida faced the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who won the division and were favored to come out of the East in round 2, and now they're playing Carolina. And last time they played the Carolina Hurricanes was in 2023, and it was a sweep. The Carolina coach said, it's not a sweep, but it was a sweep. It was a 4-0 series win, and there was a game winner with like 4 seconds left in game 4
but don't forget,
great.
Last year, overtimes, 4 overtimes in Carolina.
That was that same year, 2023.
Yeah.
4 overtime game. Oh, then there was overtime the next game, and then everyone's like, okay, here we go, the last game in overtime. Nope. Florida says, hold my glass of champagne, people, because we need a score here. I'm tired of this. That was the year they lost.
Yeah, the famous "Let's go home" guys from Tkachuk.
Yes, famous game 2, and then the bus in 10, the first game, like let's go. Yeah. So that matchup is going to be great. Carolina has some really top end defensemen, and
they have a much better goalie than before.
Yes. Anderson, it's the same goalie. He just performs better.
Right.
He plays better in the playoffs. Carolina Hurricanes kept him fresh this year, and it's paying off. They've got Burns and Slavin, and then up front they've got Aho, and then Stankoven, who they got from the trade from Dallas for Mikko Rantanen, who is killing it in Dallas. And Colorado, I'm sorry to you fans. The organization, the Colorado Avalanche, said, no, we're not going to keep him. And Dallas said, thank you very much. Because he is now ripping it apart. He's had 2 hat tricks this playoffs, and it's just been absolutely insane.
Well, let's talk about the Dallas and the Oilers matchup, right? That's coming in Wednesday.
Dallas, in my opinion, is the favorite. I like Dallas. Obviously, with the Edmonton Oilers, you never know, because guess who they have?
McDavid.
And?
Draisaitl.
Boom. And guess which goalie has back-to-back shutouts?
Okay.
Skinner, who was benched for Pickard.
Not my favorite goalie. FYI, Bob is my favorite goalie.
Yeah. But he's been proving a good amount of people wrong right now because he's got back-to-back shutouts, and that says a lot.
He normally improves, by the way, if the team progresses towards the next round.
Yes, he does progress, and he plays better and better. And they, just like you said, they have McDavid, they have Draisaitl, and they have Hyman and Nugent Hopkins. They have these players, but Dallas has a more well-rounded team. They're kind of built like Florida in a way, that they've got Haskin in the back end, they've got Harley who scored that overtime gate winner, they've got Rantanen, and then Hintz and Robertson and Johnston and all these players. They're not built 1, 2, 3, 4. They're built like one big team, and they have players who you wouldn't necessarily think are playing top line minutes, but are playing top line minutes because the players on their line are making them better, and it clicks like chemistry. So, in my opinion, they're a favorite to come out, and I really like their game, especially their goalie Ottinger. What do you think?
I think that I would have to agree, but it would be fun to see another matchup.
Rematch, yeah.
Yes, everybody's probably going to be talking about it. But before we do that, we have to pass Carolina Hurricanes as far as Floridians concerned. But
yeah,
I think that a rematch would be interesting. However, TJ, if you make it to the finals, we're trading the tickets for both ways. I want to see both games. So, TJ, my friend, we're gonna take a video with you if Dallas makes it to the finals based on Emma's predictions, and we definitely need to make sure that it's happening.
Yeah. So to wrap it all up, what's your prediction? Florida in?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Florida in?
Finals for NHL.
In how many?
Ooh, you want me to go there? You really want me to go there?
I do.
Well, why don't we leave it to our readers and we look at their, not readers, people that are watching our podcast, and let them opine on it.
Comment down below. Florida in blank, Carolina in blank. As much as we don't want Carolina to win, if you really think that, you want to go against the code, but do what you think. And then in how many in the West?
And by the way, for people that are watching this podcast and texting me, Emma, and everybody in the company that are involved, definitely continue to communicate with us. We're gonna count that in. So we definitely would be open to predictions over text messages. And one other thing I want to talk about before we end today's podcast, we are experiencing in Nativia an absolute fan evolution. There's an entire company that is based out of Hollywood, Florida, is now become the hockey fans. It's happening. Our evolution as a company, we're an officially fans of Florida Panthers. Not just me and Emma, not just people in the room that are helping us get this podcast together, but the entire company. And we're going to show you some videos as this stage of the cup progresses, how our company is cheering for Florida Panthers. So stay tuned, watch our podcast, like us, follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on YouTube, follow us on text messages if you like to do so. And we'll see you out there.
And let's go Panthers.
Let's go Panthers. Peace out. Berry Cup every time.
Let's start with Florida, everybody.
It's a phenomenal game.